panels upon this motion. Now, we know that in terms of sport games in general, it is uncommon to see a mix of athletes towards the teams, and especially coming towards the national games and leagues that exist. And this we have always seen the relation of having foreign athletes between towards the team, and with that it will gain the attention of having potential towards the national team itself. And not only does it apply in the football category, but it's also have been commonly done in basketball, hockey, and etc. And needless to say, every kinds of attempt that is established inside the sport industry is done for each motives. And in this case, it will be further explained in my arguments. Now, before jumping into my arguments, I would like to characterize first towards the naturalized athletes here. Now, these athletes are the people, well, specifically the athletes who have potential that mostly comes from a different country. So in common cases, like we would see in the games of American football, and we would see anyone outside the country, like let's say someone from Asia or someone from the Arabian country, and these people are so talented that sports team will recruit them for the sake of gaining development within, because we know on how it is not an easy decision to reconsider on having a better option, and also something to that will increase and gain the value of within the sport team itself. Now, I will have now towards the argument itself on why do we think it is actually important on having these naturalized athletes to go towards the transfer fee process, for having them to become transferred from the original organization towards the new one. Now, on my explanation, it will provide in compensation, because we know on how the original organization who previously has recruited this athlete and let's say grow this athlete, they will have spent a lot of commodities um, and other needs to prepare them from the beginning, like from scratch. Now, from the constant practice, which results in how they do in games, how they do in tournaments, how much of an improvement they have gained within the years they have practiced, and if some, it will have been a huge amount of money spent already, which is why the act of transfer fee, it will be a way to repay all the expense for the past years on building the athlete to becoming the talented one, and so the one who is on demand now by other sport teams. And for the second one, it will have a positive effect on the market, as how we all know, just like in other aspects or industries, sports also have their own market, which will contribute towards their value as a team, because we know on how each performances which is contributed by the players itself will gain the most value and gain the most profit and incentive with that. And according to that, it will determine also towards the team spending itself, like how good they are, if ranked between other teams, and etc. And also, it is also help to even out between teams, because we know on how there can be some teams that can be over dominating towards the other in between the within the league, with especially having the naturalized athletes in it. And because of that, the transferring process will conduct a higher fee, so that the previous organization so the previous over advantage organization they had they had could be balanced, and they could compete all over with a whole new system and strategy, and which contributes in the development of the players themselves. And we know on how we couldn't let the overly dominating teams to always lead the overall game, right? So we need to even out them every once in a while. And onto the practical on why do we think this system is effective is that it will provide the check and balance process between the original players with the newcomer athlete as they get to adapt with each other's practice, and it will further gain the development in the team. Now with the additional transfer fee, the original organization won't feel a greater loss as they can recruit another potential player that is as good as the previous player or even better if they can get to improve them just the same way or even with a better approach. Now, regarding on the commitment, especially towards the big games and big leagues upcoming, it will gain the overall branding towards the team. Now, starting from how well they perform compared to the other teams, how big of an impact they have created regarding the type of league they are in, which will gain for the revenue towards the organization. Now, onto the urgency, why we think it's urgent is that if in the context it were a small sport organization who gained recognition specifically because of the talented athlete who stood out, and especially since we're talking in the context of in the national team, they still have very few experiences to compete with other big teams, especially in the international scope as well. Now, if they couldn't get the deserved amount of fee they were supposed to have, then they would lose so much starting from the player, which also contributes towards the next performances, towards the expenses, their whole branding, and overall, it's a domino effect. And we would like to promise this before ending my arguments that we'll make sure that the fee established is considered based on how well the stat of the athlete so that they won't feel underestimated when being transferred towards another organization. And most importantly, we won't necessarily always agree towards any offer from other teams of transferring them if it's not from what the athletes want, if it's not what the athletes want and how effective the strategy is towards the original organization as well. In summary, it will still be considered fully not a spontaneous decision of only considering the profit, and that is why we think that is effective. And I'm proud to be I'm proud to propose. Thank you.